So should we start if you're okay with it?
Yeah, go ahead. Let's start it. Yeah.
Yeah. First of all, I'll just introduce you in 2 or 3 lines. I know it's very small for an introduction with such a big personality as you have. So, Mr. Ishan George is an advocate on record at the Supreme Court of India. He has completed his graduation from NLSIU Kochi and started his career as an in-house legal counsel with mining conglomerate Vedanta Resources and PLC. He is also a panel counsel to the Ministry of External Affairs, in which roles he provides legal assistance to Indian diplomats in various committees. So we can start the session.
Yeah.
So, firstly, from the respondent side, so the petitioner is Adarsh Kumar and Om Shri Shukla, and the respondent is Ankit Kumar and Rehan Ganesh.
All right.
So we can begin.
Go ahead. Let the petitioner's first speaker start.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Good morning, Your Lordship. I am Om Shri Shukla, and I appear here on behalf of the petitioner side with my co-counsel, Mr. Adarsh Kumar. I would be requesting Your Lordship that whether he wants to listen to the facts of the case or should I move on with the issues at hand.
Now start off with the issue.
As you all know, there are 4 main issues in the case. The first is whether the Hindu Marriage Act and the Special Marriage Act can be read in a manner to include the LGBTQA community. The second issue is whether this community can be bestowed upon with the civil rights. The third issue at hand is whether custom, traditions, rites, and ritual are as exhaustive as law. And the fourth issue is that whether the said community can be allowed to marry as per their religion. The Council, for the ease of understanding, has divided the issues in such a way that I will be dealing with issues A and C, whereas my co-counsel, Mr. Adarsh Kumar, will be dealing with issues B and D. Starting with issue 1, before diving into the realm of issue 1, I would request your lordship to please go on to page number 76 of the compendium submitted by the petitioners.
I don't have the. Let me just check. Has it been mailed to me, Courtmaster?
Yes, sir, it has been mailed.
Okay, anyway, go on. Please tell me. That's okay.
The council now will be stating section 5 of the Hindu Marriage Act. A marriage between any two Hindus may be solemnized if the following conditions are fulfilled. Namely, neither party has a spouse living at the time of marriage. At the time of marriage, neither party is incapable of giving a valid consent in consequences of unsoundness of mind, or though capable of giving a valid consent, has been suffering from mental disorder of such an extent as to be unfit for marriage or the procreation of children, or has been subjected to recurrent attacks of insanity. Also, third point, the bridegroom has completed the age of 21 and the bride the age of 18. The parties are not within the degrees of prohibited relationships unless the customs or usage governing each of them permits of a marriage between the two, or the parties are not sapindas of each other. For your lordship, sapindas are the lineal descendants up to the 3rd generation. To make things more clear, the council will now request your lordship to kindly refer to section 3 of the Hindu Marriage Act, also provided in the compendium, which talks about degrees of prohibited relationship, which are if one is a lineal ascendant, or if one was the wife or husband of a lineal ascendant or descendant of the other, or if one was the wife of the brother or the father's or mother's brother, or the grandmother or the grandfather, brother of the other, or if two are brother and sisters, uncle and niece, aunt and nephew, or children of brother and sisters, or two of the brothers or two of the sisters. The careful examination and analysis of both of these sections tell us two things. The term Hindus under Section 5 of the Hindu Marriage Act does not distinguish between homosexuals and heterosexual couples, and that nothing in the Hindu Marriage Act mandated that a marriage can only take between a Hindu man and a woman. Talking about the Special Marriage Act, the Special Marriage Act applies to every person living on the land of Replemento, either of any caste, creed, sex, or religion. It does not distinguish between religions. And it has also, the only thing that makes it against, and the petitioners are requesting, is that it does not register the marriages of an LGBTQ community. Now, still, the council keeps in mind the intrinsic nature of the Indian law. Would like to mention a point noted in J.P. Singh's Principles of Statutory Interpretation, in which he says the court is free to apply the current meaning of a statute to present day conditions. Also, a statute must be interpreted in the light of the legal system as it exists today. If your lordship doesn't have any doubts regarding the issue 1, the council will be asking for a permission to move on to the issue C.
See, with respect to your discussion on Hindu Marriage Act, just tell me section 5 clause 2, Roman numeral 2, and section 7 clause 2 of the Hindu Marriage Act use the terms bride and bridegroom, right?
Yes, your lordship.
How to reconcile that? Because you cannot unilaterally say that, there's only a reference to the term person and there is no reference to man and woman. But there is a clear reference to bride and bridegroom. How will you reconcile these two aspects?
Your lordship.
It cannot be said that the act does not contemplate relationships between man and man. Does contemplate. Sorry, right? It does have references. It does have references. So how do you reconcile that?
Your lordship, as I have mentioned, the Hindu Marriage Act intrinsically may be dividing between a Hindu man and a Hindu woman, but it nowhere explicitly mentions. Therefore, the council has taken J.P. Singh's interpretation as to tell the honorable bench or the honorable court that it has to be a light of beacon in these times and act as a measure to conclude that an LGBTQ have all the rights that we normal persons do.
That's okay. Okay. Now let us come to the Special Marriage Act. Right. Now we may assume that two persons who belong to the LGBTQ community may not be permitted to marry under the Hindu Marriage Act so as to not offend certain sensibilities. But under the Special Marriage Act, is there any reference to male and female? Is it purely heterosexual in its description?
The council don't think that is the case in the Special Marriage Act too. It is quite intrinsic in nature also.
See, you in the Special Marriage Act, look at the provision which deals with age criteria. Do you have the Special Marriage Act with you?
I have to open on my laptop.
Let it be. See, Special Marriage Act has a description of age criteria, minimum age requirement for a person to marry, where the age of a male is different and the age of a female is different. So there is a clear distinction, right? So as to who can and cannot marry. Don't you think so? Is the act not contemplating that distinction when it defines the age difference? So if two men marry or if two women marry, how will this be treated? Would it be possible for us to contemplate such a distinction under the act?
My lordship, the councils think that the age group given for a male and the age group given for females can be taken as only for female. There is no contradiction arising out of it.
All right. Very well. Move on.
So the council will now request for your lordship to kindly grant a permission to move on to the issue C. Sorry, Your Lordship, you are not audible.
Go ahead.
The issue C at hand talks about whether the tradition, rituals, rites, and custom are as exhaustive as law. The Council would like to put forward a fact that it believes that the custom, traditions, rituals, and rites do form an integral part of Indian law, but are in no way as exhaustive as they should be. And there are no logical possibility in contradiction for which the petitioner council is present here today. Talking about the traditions, my lordship, if we move on to over a 200 years of age, of 200 years of gap, we can easily find out that India, as a tradition, the ancient people of India were a much liberal society as we are of now, because there are many literatures found in the ancient India. The ultimate example of which will be the Kama Sutra, written by a sage Vatsayana in 320 AD. At the same time, when over the seven seas, the Catholic Church was being made, and the Catholic Church was dividing on the basis of sins. In India, our sages were writing books like Kama Sutra, which accepts the same-sex relationships. Apart from these literary sources, the India is a land of temples. We have many temples across the length and breadth. There are many temples depicting couples indulging into LGBTQ sexual relationships. For the major example of them being the Khajuraho temple in MP. It has many sculptures which depict that two men are having sexual intercourse, which means that in the traditional India, LGBTQA was a part of a common society, and they helped us build India just like the normal people do. Now, talking about the customs to have a power of law should overcross some of the essentials. Like they should not be unambiguous, they should be clear, and they should not in any way contradict the human rights. Now, as just argued by the council, the current state of LGBTQA community infringes the right which they have, and also there were many traditions which were left behind by the Indian judiciary, like the sati system, which was a part of our tradition but has to be left out because it was downright discriminatory towards the females. Therefore, the council would like to request the court to once again be the beacon of hope for the LGBTQA community and be a seminal writer.
See, you must understand that when you talk about customs and rites and rituals, there is a balance that has to be maintained. Just because something accepted 1,000 years ago or 500 years ago, as you have pointed out regarding the practice of sati, being set apart by founders of our country, the forefathers of our country. Laws that need to be discarded, that may not be discarded. So presently, this is a codified statute, and you are asking us to remove the restriction. You are not asking us to make something into law, right? So you have to show that this is unconstitutional and contrary to basic fundamental rights of individuals, right? Merely, we are not making on the point that because it is practice that was accepted 500 years ago, today the law must not be. This is a colonial legislation that was incorporated. There may
Your
be.
Lordship, you are not audible to me.
Am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes,
Yes,
now
sir.
there are some distractions between the voice.
So I'm saying that this is a colonial. You are not asking me to declare law. You are asking me to strike down something, right? What are you asking me? What are you asking? Am I wrong in saying that?
The council is of the view that the court should act as a light bearer for the LGBTQA community, because the law is still not giving them the civil rights they deserve. Their marriage is not registered. Therefore, the council is of the view that the court must take the opportunity and act on what the petitioners are saying.
How many are there? Are you aware of any foreign judgments which have been passed in other countries where homosexuality has been decriminalized? Of course, that has happened in our country also. But Marriage has been legalized. Homosexual marriage has been legalized.
Your Lordship, the council will plead ignorance on this.
And very well, move on.
So I would like to give the podium to my co-counsel, Mr. Adarsh Kumar.
Council, you can start. Adarsh.
Mr. Adarsh. Mr. Adarsh, are we audible to you?
Ma'am, he has just messaged me that he is facing some network issues on his side.
Okay. So what do we do, Court Master? Should we wait or move on to the next contestant and wait for Mr. Adarsh
The
to-
first one can carry the issues forward. Mr. Om Shri Shukla itself can carry the issues forward, so that we are over with the petitioner's side.
Or what, Court Master, what we do? Let respondents begin and let Mr. Adarsh Kumar argue his matter once they conclude, because I have to judge him, right? So
Yeah,
I can
sure.
Mr. Om Shri Shukla
So
argue.
we can start with the respondent side.
Let's start with the respondents.
Who is coming first?
Who's the first speaker?
MD Rehan Danes will be the first speaker. First person.
Sorry?
And the first person on the side.
Who is the first speaker in the respondent side? Mr. Ankit, are you the speaker?
Sir, I am the second counsel. The counsel first was MD Rehan Danes.
Where is he? Where is he?
Yes, he is here, but you have to unmute yourself.
Hello.
Yeah.
Okay, Danish,
Okay.
start.
Okay, sir. So, am I audible, sir?
Yeah.
Yes, you.
Okay, sir. Sir, the council would like to seek permission to begin with the proceedings, sir.
Go ahead.
Okay, sir. So, your lordship, if you are well versed with the facts of the case, may I proceed with the issues of the case?
Yes.
Okay, much obliged, your lordship. Okay. So, being the first counsel from the respondent side, that is from the Republic of Replemento, I will be dealing with the first and second issue. The first issue is whether or not Hindu Marriage Act 1955 and Special Marriage Act 1954 can be read in a manner to include members from the LGBTQ community. Your lordship, the council would like to humbly submit that the Hindu Marriage Act 1955 and Special Marriage Act 1954 cannot be read in a manner to include members from the LGBTQ community. Your lordship, from the JP Singh's interpretation of statutes book, it is contended that it is argued in the book that literal rule of interpretation is the best rule of interpretation. It is the default.
I think he is also facing some network issue.
Your Lordship. Hello. Your Lordship, am I audible?
Yeah, he's back.
Okay. Sorry, my lordship. The network condition is not good in Jharkhand right now.
No problem. Please continue. We can understand.
Okay. Okay, your lordship, I was telling about the literal rule of interpretation. I was saying that it is the default rule of interpretation of statute because it is the intention of the legislature is deduced In it, the intention of the legislature is reduced from the words and the language of the words used in the statute. According to this, the only duty of the court is to give the effect if language of the statute is plain and simple and have no business to look into the consequences which might arise thereto. Hence, Your Lordship, the term Hindu has not been defined under the Hindu Marriage Act or the Succession Act or any other enactment of the legislature. So we are dealing with the first thing, that whether Hindu Marriage Act can accommodate LGBT community in it or not. Hence, I would like to cite a case of Bhagwan Koir versus J.C. Bose. In it, the act is therefore applicable to only all Hindus, including a Virasheva, a Lingayat, a Brahmo, Prarthana Samajist, and Arya Samajist, Buddhist, Jain, and Sikh. Hence, it can be stated that these things are completely exhaustive in nature and does not include anything other than what is mentioned in this act. Hence, it can be stated that hence the council like to humbly submit that Hindu Marriage Act cannot include LGBTQ community in its ambit. Further, though the text of the Special Marriage Act does not include homosexual unions from its ambit explicitly, Section 4 and Schedule 2 to 4 of the Act carry a heterosexual undertone in its language, as it shows marriage as an affair between male and a female or between bride and bridegroom, as stated by you earlier. Hence, with this point, I would like to state that even a Special Marriage Act cannot be read in a manner to include the members from the LGBTQ community. Further, the marriage is not just a matter of union of two individuals, but a solemn institution between a biological man and a biological woman. The sole purpose of the individuals entering into a marriage institution is to procreate and continue its
I think he's stuck again. We'll wait.
Okay, sorry for the interruption. So I was telling why the marriage. Yeah, I was telling that marriage is not just a matter of union of two individuals, but a solemn institution between a biological man and a biological woman, and goes on to give the definition of the marriage as per the Black Law Dictionary. Hence, with our stated argument, I have clearly pointed out as to why Hindu Marriage Act will not be cannot be read as to include the members of the LGBT community, because it is exhaustive and completely includes only the members from all the Hindus, including Vaishya, Virat.
Go ahead.
Okay, sir. So, sir, summarizingly, I was telling two things, that why Hindu Marriage and the Special Marriage Act cannot read. First thing is that Hindu Marriage
I
Act.
got your point.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. So I have dealt with my first issue, sir, and I would like to humbly submit that Hindu Marriage Act and Special Marriage Act cannot be read in a manner to include members of the LGBT community. I would like to move to the second issue. Whether
One thing, just because
Yes.
the Hindu Marriage Act does not include it, does not mean that it is not discriminatory. And this is the Supreme Court, so we have the power to either read down the provision or add a provision, add into the meaning of the provision. Now you have to understand that Article 16 of the UDHR says that there is an express right to marry between all people, and that is considered a fundamental right. Are you aware of any judgments of the Supreme Court which say that the right to marry is a fundamental right?
And no, Your Lordship, there is no such cases law that have came across where it has been read that marriage is a fundamental right.
See, the right to express marry is not expressly declared as a fundamental right, but it has been inherently discussed by the Supreme Court in a variety of matters,
Okay.
starting from Bakasin versus State of UP, and subsequently it has been ended with the Nas Foundation judgment.
Yeah, yes, Your Lordship.
It has been discussed, not held. Now the reason is, all these judgments deal with cases where intercaste marriages were challenged and the court or inter-community marriages have been challenged. And till recently, courts have held that, as long as the marriage is between two individuals who are major in age, then that marriage is not invalid. And barriers due to caste or community or religion cannot be reason to prevent people from entering into a marital relationship. So, in that being the case, how can you say that the Hindu Marriage Act, because the Hindu Marriage Act does not contemplate it expressly, we have to bar it entirely? You have to see that the Hindu Marriage Act expressly does not prohibit or define marriage as being exclusively between a male and a female. In the Act, you quoted GP Singh interpretation of statute. The court must not read into a provision also. If the wanted to prohibit same-sex marriages, then that would be expressly prohibited. You would not have to implicitly read into it. So how do you deal with that? Otherwise, the statute would have very clearly said that, as your petitioner argued, the degrees of prohibited relationship are clearly mentioned between brother, sister, between son and daughter. It would have included, the exclusion would have included man and woman also. Since it is not expressly excluded, why are you now read into it?
Yeah, much obliged, Your Lordship. Your Lordship, first of all, the Nas Foundation completely says about the union of the two individuals and did not went into further elaboration whether they shall be included in the term of marriage or not. Secondly, Your Lordship, as you said that there is no explicitly mention, there is no explicitly bar, there is also no explicitly inclusive of the community as well, sir, Your Lordship. It completely, and since the court can take or the interpretation its own way, however, the matter should be addressed before the legislature as well.
So you are saying Parliament should be entitled to make that decision and not the courts. Are you saying?
No, Your Lordship, though the courts can take their interpretation and on their discretion. However, the legislature should also proactively involve in taking that decision as well, because from previously they have recognized the community and the union, but not the marriage.
Okay, very well. Go ahead.
Okay, Your Lordship. For my second issue is with. Okay, my second issue is whether or not civil rights can be granted to the members of the community. The council would like to humbly submit that civil rights cannot be granted to the members of the community because the state herein cannot grant civil rights to the community as it is against the culture and ethos of the state. Your Lordship, all the major religions in India condemn homosexuality and any legal challenges to decriminalize it. Though the Hijras, transgender individual, did have a valid position in traditional Indian society. Indeed, the third gender has recently been legally recognized. However, Your Lordship, these are the gay as defined by their own culture, which is an extremely low, indeed outcast position in society. Their orientation, making LGBTQ community on equal pedestal to and that of other gender will invite an uproar from the people to ensure that the vulnerable community cannot be harassed. A sea change in other laws has to be brought, and hence for time being the civil rights cannot be granted for now. Your Lordship, with this, I would like to submit my second.
Is he there or is he stuck? Yeah.
So, Your Lordship, now I would like to invite my co-counsel,
Wait,
Mr.
wait,
Ankit.
wait.
Okay.
Don't rush. You have to answer questions here.
Indeed, Lordship.
Now you have now when you say that most religions condemn it, you say that religion, customs, rights are to be looked into to the extent that they are not violative of fundamental rights of individuals. Right. Now the right to life and dignity is part of Article 21. Yes.
Yes. Yes, Your Lordship.
Now you are saying that they are to be treated as outcasts and at the lower range of society. Our constitution itself prohibits discrimination on the basis of caste. Now you are saying that because certain religions, Sati religions, ancient religions promoted stoning of women who were engaged in prostitution. These were all religious declarations and religious understandings. Now, these have been rightly discarded as our society has moved forward, rightly set aside by Parliament, rightly set aside by our Supreme Court and our High Courts. So how can we actively discriminate once the union of two individuals, once the act has been decriminalized? How can we actively discriminate between a certain section of society purely because certain religions consider them as being immoral?
Okay. Okay. So, Lordship, I would like to point out to the Civil Rights Act 1955. In that, the word person has been used, and I believe it is a gender biased term. Your Lordship, by that, the act says that as an individual and as an individual, every person have the right to exercise in its ambit. However, the question that you are the question that you are discussing here is that civil rights can or cannot be granted to the members of the community as a whole. Your Lordship, when we're seeing that when two individuals are coming and forming a union and then taking and their demands to the community rights, at that level we can see that it cannot be granted, Your Lordship, as because we have never the state of Replemento has never addressed those things, and neither in the okay, so Lordship, I would like to just say the bullet points first. Civil Rights Act 1955 mentions the word person, which is not gender biased. So any person can avail their rights. However, the question that we are concerning here is that whether the community can have their civil rights or not. Your Lordship, the council would like to request the bench to take a note that the community as a whole cannot be granted as a civil right because it has not been accepted or not been prevalent and any time of now, whether culturally or traditionally or in daily life as well.
All right, very well.
Okay, Your Lordship, if you are satisfied with the points, I would like to request my co-counsel to come up with his issues.
Is that Mr.
Mr.
Is your colleague ready?
Yes.
Indeed, Your Lordship.
Huh?
And I request Mr.
There
Ankit to
is
come up with his issue.
Mr. Shukla, is Mr. Adarsh Kumar, is his system ready?
No, Your Lordship, he is still messaging that there are some grave technical glitches on his side.
Okay,
So
very well.
maybe we can finish off with the respondents first, and then afterwards we can.
So, the reason I interrupted is Mr. Shukla may now be prepared to argue the second. His colleague's side. Because if he is not there, you will have to argue. So by the time Mr. Ankit is done, be prepared for his side.
Yes.
Right? So Mr. Ankit, you can start.
thank you, your WhatsApp. I Ankit Kumar for to for the cause of homeland Republic of Replemento with my co-counsel Mr. Rehan Danis in the case of Quit Community NGO Republic of. If your lordship are well versed with the fact of the case, the concept of six permission to notify courts about the division of bench. May I proceed with another, sir, your lordship? May I proceed with another two issue number 3 and issue number 4?
Start off, but go a little slow because your internet seems to be a little. There's a lot of breaking in between, so I'm not able to catch what you're saying. So go a little slow. Okay.
Okay, sir. Sir, I am Kumar dealing with the issue number 3 and issue number 4 of the case. Wherein issue number 3 of the case dealt with whether or not the customs, traditions, rights, rituals form an exhaustive code as contested by the Republic of Replemento. The council, on behalf of the opposite party, would like to humbly submit that the customs, traditions, rights, rituals form an exhaustive code as contested and are perfectly valid in denouncing the LGBTQIA community of rights of sex as it is against the culture, nature, and ethos of the nation, i.e. of the Republic of Replemento. So, if we look into the council would like to submit the argument, substantiate the fact with Article 13, Clause 3 of the Constitution, wherein the custom, if we look in the present date, we found that the custom or usage found its place as a valid law under Article 13 of the Constitution if the same obtains the force of law and is in consonance with the Part 3 of the Constitution. The council would like to draw the kind attention of your lordship towards Article 13, Clause 3 of the Constitution, wherein it has been stated that in this article, unless the contest otherwise requires, the law includes any ordinance, order, bylaw, rule, regulation, notification, customs, and usages having in the territory of India the force of law. Therefore, sir, if we look into the majority of the personal laws of either of any of the religions, then we found that they were enacted in midst of the 20th century in 1955 to 1960, and majority. And if we look into the provisions of that act, then we found that the majority of the provisions are enumerated are based on the acts and observances which were in existence prior to the enactment of that act, prior to the coming into force of that act. Therefore, we can say that custom and usages, the rights and rituals are still the dominant role in our majority of religions' personal laws. If we look into the marriage, succession, or adoption, any of those. And further, sir, the council would like to add the measures of the country of Republic of Replemento and nearly all laws of every religion, whether it be Hindu or Muslim or Judaism or Christian, the matter of marriage, inheritance, adoption, and success are based on the customs and usages of the nation. And further, I would like to substantiate the fact that evidence from our historical and ancient scriptures like Narada Smriti, like Manu Smriti, and Asra, depicts that they also depicts that the people of that decade were against the homosexual acts. They see the homosexual as a sin, and they saw them as against the nature. And they proposed that in all of these ancient scriptures, we found that they proposed that the entire human race depends on heterosexuality only. And in our society, the family is made up of a man and a woman, not of a woman or man. Therefore, and they also proposed that if we allow the homosexuality, then it leads to the integration of the society. And we further, they were of the strongly and vehemently of the belief that they were more inclined toward the natural occurrences. They believe that the people, that the human race must not go against the natural occurrences. If we go against the natural occurrences, then it might result into a devastation. It might result into an inevitable result which cannot be get rid of by the human race in future. And further, the constitution like to argue that at present the constitution which granted the rights to every fundamental rights to every people of the nation, whether it be man, woman, or of LGBTQ community. But the fundamental rights that are guaranteed are not absolute in nature. They are subjected to the reasonable restrictions. Therefore, the reasonable restrictions can be imposed to protect the citizen as well as the people of LGBT community from the injurious consequences to protect them from suffering after they involve in any kind of act. Further, also to argue that the kind of act we are going to, if we allow such kind of act to LGBTQ community, then it would be against the order of nature. As we know, sir, that every part of human body has been assigned with different functions. If we abuse with any of them, it might result into different consequences. It might result into, it may affect the health of the persons if they come in contact with each other. If we abuse any parts of the body, then it may result into inevitable consequences which cannot be get rid of by the human race if we believe in the nature. Therefore, in the country, and furthermore, I would like to argue, sir, that in the country like the Republic of Sacramento, allowing homosexuality is against the mandate of the custom. And it will be a major challenge in the society because the society of the Republic of Sacramento has not been expanded up to that extent that it would be able to accept the LGBTQ sex citizenship. Sir, while drafting the legislature, the act will draft the legislature, and the legislature are the representatives of the people, and they represent the will of the people. If we draft anything against the will of the people, it then what it will be lead that if court permits such kind of act, then what would be the possibility is that it only be leads on the theory, but in practical aspect, the mindset of the people are remains the conservative, and rather than they will be able to enjoy such kind of act, they will face struggle and violence in the people because the people of the mind has not of the society is not understanding. This will not.
I got your point. See, your this argument is based on societal understanding of what a marriage should be, what a couple's living should be, what a family is. Very clearly, your own saying that the parliament has the right to
hello.
create laws which are relevant to you.
थोड़ा देर remind ना free है तो.
See, somebody's there is a noise from somewhere.
I'm muted. I'm
Able
muted.
to understand the answer.
So what I'm saying is, if the parliament has the right, while you say that the parliament has the right to make the necessary laws, and allowing this would result in massive, degradation of society. The Supreme Court has already decriminalized homosexuality, and effectively it has permitted these individuals to live together without fear of the consequence of law, right? Adverse consequences of law. So they are effectively living couples living together. At best, what we are doing is giving them the sanctity of marriage and the civil consequences and civil rights which flow through that. Now, if you are saying that certain acts will lead to harm to certain others, you have to establish that, because a certain set of individuals are conferred certain rights, that will amount to discrimination against the larger community. That is not what you are saying. You are saying that it will offend the sensibilities of the majority community who are not belonging to the LGBT. But that is not the ground on which you ask for either setting aside a discriminatory law. What the petitioners are saying is that this law is discriminatory. They are individuals whose right to live together and has been decriminalized. They are permitted to live together. Therefore, they are now similar to all other classes of citizens. So how can law specifically prohibit certain rights to them? And if your parliament wanted to make these changes, it could have amended the Hindu Marriage Act accordingly by including in the exclusions that a union could not be permitted between two males or two females. It has to be a male or a female, right? It only says it has to be two persons belonging to the Hindu community, or in the Special Marriage Act, there is no specific exclusion saying that only a male and a woman may marry. At best, we are only going to say that, the right may also flow to them, unless you can establish that, this right being conferred on them will lead to harm to others, right? It is discrimination. So tell me, and under Article 14, is this discriminatory or is this not discriminatory? Under Article 14 of the Constitution, because operating under the assumption that these are similar classes of citizens after 377 was decriminalized.
The Lordship, indeed, it fall under the Constitution. The right, if we see the upper, but if we look to the article, then we said 14 not completely talks about article in every aspect. There are certain reasonable measures must be, and certain reasonable can be used to prohibit such from putting petition with the other. Like we implement what they're trying is to prohibit such kind of acts so that the people getting involved in such kind of act may not face any health issue among them, and so that the morality grounds could not be violated by involving into acts of them. Indeed, right to voting granted right to equality, but allowing them by keeping the other point by and keeping the other points in view. It certainly we I can say, sir, I can say, Your Lordship, it would not be just and fair for them.
Fair enough.
On other points, if the Your Lordship does not have any inquiry, may I proceed with, to issue number 4?
Go ahead.
Much obliged, Your Lordship. The issue number 4 is talks about whether or not members from the state community can be allowed to be married as per the rituals of their respective religions. The council, on behalf of the opposite party, would like to humbly submit that the LGBTQ community could not be allowed to be married as per the rituals of their respective religions, because the council would like to substantiate the fact with the view that the acceptance of the institution of marriage between two individuals is neither recognized nor accepted in any codified personal law or any codified statutory law. And further, if you look into Article 21 and Article 25, then the ground reasonable restrictions can be imposed on the ground of decency, morality, and health must be taken into at the uppermost pedestal for not providing such kind of act to homosexuals. And if you look into the international arena, sir, then Article 16 clause 1 of the UDHR and Article 23 clause 2 of the ICCPR, then there we clearly found that in Article 23 clause 2 of ICCPR, the right of men and women of marriageable age to marry and to found a family shall be recognized. Here, nowhere the legislatures of the legislatures of UDHR clearly specifically provide the rights of men and women. Nowhere talks about the rights of homosexuality. Further in similar point, in Article 16 of the UDHR, clause 1, if we refer, then there is clearly mentioned that men and women of full age, without any limitation due to race, nationality, or religion, shall have the right to marry. And in nowhere in the UDHR and ICCPR there is question of providing right to family to the LGBTQ community. And therefore, sir, and further, I have already argued that for providing any rights to the people, the society, the conservative society, the mindset of the people must be taken into consideration, and while allowing them for sex. And the foremost important thing is that in every personal law, if you look into the Hindu, Muslims, or in Christianity or Judaism, then the marriage is considered as a sacrament, which is a union of two souls between two different genders. And in Muslim law, specifically, marriage is considered as a contract for legalizing the generations. In neither of the case, in neither of the personal laws, in neither of the in religions personal laws, the LGBTQ marriage would be fall within the sacrament or within the contract for legalizing this generation for procreating generation. With these arguments, the council would like to proceed with the prayers, if your lordship permits.
Yeah, please.
So, and therefore, wherein the light of the issue raised, argument advanced, and authorities cited, it is humbly prayed that the Honorable Court may please to adjudge and declare Prayer 1, the Hindu Marriage Act 1955 and the Special Marriage Act 1954 cannot be read in a manner to include members from the LGBTQ community. Second prayer is that the civil rights cannot be granted to the members of the community. Third prayer is that the customs, traditions, rights, rituals does not form an exhaustive code and contested by the Republic of Replimento. And the fourth is that the members of the said community cannot be allowed to remarry as per the rituals of the respective religions. And pass any other order that this honorable court may deem fit in interest of justice, equity, and good conscience. All of which is humbly prayed counsel for the respondent. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Time's up.
Your Lordship,
If I-
I'm audible.
If Adarsh
Adarsh
Kumar is ready,
Yeah, yes.
you have 15 minutes
Yes,
to
sir.
go because your co-counsel has taken 15 minutes already. So you have just 15 minutes at hand.
Start.
Counsel,
Can anyone hear him? Is he audible?
No, he's not. Mr. Adarsh Kumar.
Others, you are not audible. If you can hear us.
to my video because of issues. If I will video, there is a lot of network issue.
Yeah, that's fine.
Keep your video off and just keep your audio on so we can hear you.
Okay, so okay, your Lord.
Yeah, because then your bandwidth will be less.
So my first,
Yeah. Don't worry. You can keep your video off. I'm not judging anyone by looks. So, nobody is going to have a lesser advantage because of that.
much obliged. My first issue is the civil right must be granted to the member of LGBTQ community, and the second issue is the members from the said community can be allowed to be married as per the rituals of their respective religions. Moving to the first section, please refer to preposition of 6. First, the civil right guarantee of equal social opportunity and equal protection under the law, regardless of race, gender, religion, or other personal characteristics. Right of the LGBT community to own and inherit and insurance forms and receive legal recognition of same-sex marriage were the areas that needed urgent attention. Your Lordship, please kindly refer to the compendium of page number 10. In the case of Navdeep Singh Johar versus Union of India, the Secretary Ministry of Law and Justice, it ruled that any discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation is a violation of the Replimento Constitution. Sexual orientation is one of the many biological phenomena which is a natural and inherent in an individual, and it is controlled neurological and biological factors. Any discrimination on the basis of one's sexual orientation would entail a violation of the fundamental right of the freedom of expression. The Supreme Court, while reading down the section 327 of the Replimento Penal Codes, had held that LGBT Replimento would be entitled to be equal constitutional citizenship, thereby hinting at the future expansion of civil rights. In the very same case mentioned above, the Supreme Court found that Section 377 discriminate against individuals on the basis of their sexual orientation and or gender identity, violating Article 14 and 15 of the Constitution. Not granting of the LGBT community with the civil right is also a clear violation of the same fundamental right. The civil right of the LGBT person must therefore shifted beyond marriage to account for all aspects of the state regulation of this civil right and the family such as succession, parenthood, economic dependency, and protection from violence in intimate relationship. This needs to get reflected in the litigation and the law reform strategy urgently to undo the year of oppression and discrimination faced by the community. If your lordship, there have no further more question in this regard, then moving to a second submission.
No, see, tell me one thing. You spoke about when you talk about fundamental rights, Article 19 also discusses reasonable restrictions which may be imposed on certain fundamental rights. First and foremost, you have to establish that your right to marry even a member of another community a member of the same gender is a fundamental right. Let us assume that. But is it not a reasonable restriction to have certain limitations on the civil rights that may be enjoyed by these individuals? Because if you look at all our statutes, if you look at the penal code, if you look at succession laws, as you said, if you look at other ancillary legislations, there is always a reference to a man and a woman and different in the capacity of a married relationship.
Yes, Lord.
And how would legalizing civil rights for same-sex community have a ripple effect on all these other legislation? Is this not something that Parliament should analyze and in its own wisdom make necessary amendments to all the concerned legislations? The Supreme Court, by unilaterally saying that all civil rights would from a legal marriage would flow, may not be able to envision what are the consequences of such a step. So what do you have to say? Can we do something like that? Is there any precedent where the Supreme Court has done something like that? Is he there? Akash, are you there?
Your lordship, I'm audible, your lordship.
You are audible. You are audible, Akash. Continue. Did you hear the question?
No.
Others, did you hear the question? Are you there?
Yeah, your lordship.
Did you hear the question? Were you able to hear the question?
Yes, lordship.
Then do you
Yes, lordship.
do you have any point?
So as you
Tell.
any discrimination, if any discrimination on the basis of one sexual orientation would entail violation of fundamental rights of freedom of expression and
Is he there?
hello.
Adarsh, you are audible. Please continue.
Sir, I'm just yes, sir.
Continue.
Okay, and if any, it will be discrimination on the basis of one sexual orientation would entail a violation of the fundamental rights of freedom of expression. The Supreme Court found that discrimination against individual on the basis of their sexual orientation or gender identity violating Article 14 or 15 Constitution, your lordship. if not granting LGBT community with civil right is also violation of the fundamental right.
Okay.
Moving to a second submission, my second issue is members from the state community can be allowed to be married as per the ritual of their respective religion.
Okay.
Your Lordship, please kindly refer to a memorial issue. Please kindly refer to the compendium page number 36, point number 77. In the case of Safin Jan versus Ashokan KM and other majority held, the right to marry a person one choice is integral to Article 21 of the Constitution, matter of belief and faith, including whether to believe are at the core of constitutional liberty. Society has no role to play determining our choice partners. The most significant observation is paragraph 156 in Narjit Singh Johar versus Union of India, in which he has specifically held that members of the LGBT community are entitled, as all the other citizens, to the full range of constitutional rights, including the liberties protected the Constitution, are entitled to equal citizenship and equal protection of law. Your Lordship, kindly refer to page number 61 of compendium, point number 3. In Ratilal Panchand Gandhi versus State of Bombay, the Supreme Court stated that Article 25 guarantees every person the freedom of conscience and right to freely profess, practice, and propagate religion imposed with certain restriction by the state. In October 2019, UK Parliament passed legislation to legalize same-sex marriage in Northern Ireland. The law went into action on January 13, 2020 and made same-sex marriage legal in the United Kingdom. And also the 29 countries have recognized the same-sex marriage as officially legal. It is the right of the LGBT community and bring an end prevailing discrimination, whether or not government recognizes marriage. And however, government should define marriage. No can tell who to love, no can government or demanding of marriage. Therefore, the Commission will have of one choice of fundamental right, irrespective of caste, creed,
Go slow, go slow. Your voice is breaking. I'm not able to hear you.
Okay, sorry. Oh, your mic. Whether or government recognize same-sex marriage, and however government choose to define marriage, no government can tell people whom to love or can exert exclusive control over marriage or understanding of marriage. Therefore, the Council, on the behalf of the petitioner, would like to argue that a right to marry a person of one's choice is a fundamental right, irrespective of caste, creed, religion, and sexual orientation. Hence, depriving an individual right to marry on the basis of sexual orientation is clear violation of the fundamental right. Members from the LGBT community must have the freedom to be married as per the ritual of their respective religions. Oh, Lordship. Thank you. Any further?
That's it. That's it. Now we can go to rebuttals. Does anyone have any rebuttal to make?
There will be 2 minutes allotted for the rebuttals for each of the side.
Can I proceed with the rebuttals?
Yes, please.
Your Lordship, the petitioner side, the respondents, the Council for Respondents in their second issue mentioned that Hijras are in the lowest strata of the society, which is clearly what the petitioner council is standing for. And this reply for the respondents has made it all the more important for the Honorable Court to look into the matter from the perspective of the petitioners. Further, I would also like to quote Justice Indu Malhotra when she was declaring the order for the Nalsar case, in which she said that all of the India as a society should feel sorry for all the ostracized, for all the difficulties that we have made for the LGBTQ community, and the community has been ostracized for years, and we should feel sorry for it. Therefore, I would like your lordship to act as a beacon for the generations to come, so that we can know what the right thing is.
All right. Anyone from the petitioners, respondents?
Indeed, your lordship. Sir, the word Hijra is completely meant that the only community that is in particular Hijra is accepted in the society among the Hindu community, and it is respected and on equal pedestal. We want to state that until and unless the society changes to further level, we cannot make any other guarantee that they should be given civil rights, civil right in my issue number 2. Further, your lordship, Indu Malhotra did state that no one should be discriminated. I do agree with that. But here in this state, the Hijra community is a particular community and is a biological reform, whereas the other community is not a biological reform, but rather an orientation to them purported from themselves. So, your lordship, the question is just a misguiding one and is a concocted one.
Bookmaster?
So if you have any feedbacks to give to them, you can. Otherwise, we can just end the meeting.
All right. Both the teams have, I think, done well, considering the limitations in terms of connectivity. Neither of the teams need to worry that I will be concerned with the fact that you were getting disconnected or you were not audible. I think the message was clear, and both of you, all 4 of you, have done a good job of it, especially given the circumstances. But I think what you can do is, because it is a little bit of a new area, at least, this judgment is about to come. Right now, the matter is in the Delhi High Court. I think there is a matter in the Kerala High Court and the Bombay High Court. These matters are likely to come up to the Supreme Court. And in such matters, generally, there is a lot of reliance on foreign jurisdictions, foreign judgments, what are the views taken by courts abroad. So in the lack of precedent in India should not deter you. The lack of precedent in India gives you an opportunity to establish jurisprudence. These are rare judgments, rare matters, where you have the opportunity to establish law. So do some research on international law. It always helps. If not anything else, it expands your horizons, because foreign judgments have a completely different viewpoint, different perspective, and a beautiful way of putting things across. Other than that, both teams have done a good job. I would say that it would be a tough call for me, whatever judging that I'm going to do. But a good thing going for everyone. I'm glad to have been able to judge you guys. It's not judging. In a few years, you will be my peers in the profession. So best of luck to all of you. All right.
Thank you, sir.
Good to see you guys.
So we are glad to have you here, and thanks to all the participants as well.
Indeed, your lordship. Thank you so much for your guidance.
Thank you.
You may leave the meeting, all of you.
Thank
I
you.
just have a word to the courtmaster. All of you can just exit the room presently.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, Courtmaster, I can just now is everyone out?
Yes, sir. Everybody is out. Yes, sir. Everybody is.
So listen, I'll just put those marks into the Google Doc. I just need to add the data and just save it, right? And you'll be able.
It will get saved automatically. You don't need to save anything further. It will, as soon as you upload, it will be there on the drive. So yeah, you can put it.
Anyway, thanks a lot. All
Thank
right.
you, sir.
Stay safe. Bye.
Anjali?
Yeah, Divya.
I must stop the recording, right? I can now.
Yeah, you can stop the recording. Adarsh, your